Good afternoon, Diana.
Hi, Fraser.
We, we're out here on a late winter day, and we can see buds bursting on trees and songbirds singing. And we are now working on, in this segment, your tree series.
Yes, we are.
One of your prolific series, full of very strong, large, bold, I could go on, paintings. Please talk about them. Please, let's talk about them.
Oh boy. Well, I was just looking at one of my portfolios and I came across about 25 or so pictures, and it started me reminiscing a little bit as to when all of these came forth through me, and they were a delight to do. They really were, and I think somewhere I've said before that excuse me, I had painted for 15 years on paper, and then all of a sudden it was like it had to be canvas. And
So yeah, I remember one day we were going through some of your archives, and I come across a piece of canvas, and it was all rolled up, and I thought it was just a blank piece of canvas, and I thought we could use it for a project or something, and then I unravel it, and it was a tree, a very basic tree.
Yes, very basic
compared to your later works, of course. But
yes.
Why do you think your tree series came out in you 15 years after your beginning?
It's kind of a mystery, I think, how these things unfold in each of us. I've always loved trees. But to have them come at such an extent the way they came, I mean, I actually went out and bought, I don't know, all told, I bought, in the next few years, I bought about 150 canvases.
That was around early 2000s?
I had done small trees on paper, but all of a sudden it was like the new millennia hit. I don't know that had anything to do with it, but all of a sudden it was, I've got to have a canvas, and I had like anywhere from 4 to 6 pieces going on in my studio all at once.
Wow. Large canvases.
Large canvases, yeah. Not as large as I would have liked once in a while. I did many that were, 4 by 5 feet, 5 by 5 feet, 6 by 4 feet. So they were a good size. And I had to do big trees on the canvas. I couldn't settle for anything that was like just a small part of anything. I don't copy anything. I never have, and I never will. It's more of a feeling that comes out of my work always. And when it came to trees, it was just like they were toppling out of my unconscious or even my conscious, where I would look at the canvas, and, they can be intimidating at times before anything's put on it.
Blank canvas.
Yeah, and, you see this blank space and you go, whoa. But
not for long.
Yeah, and I remember actually the first tree I did, and I called it, I believe, Tree of Wisdom.
Tree of Wisdom. Tree of Substance?
Tree of Substance. Thank you. You do better than I do. I have too many trees in my brain. And it was the turning point from. I had attempted something on this 4 by 5 foot canvas, but I was not happy with it. And I don't know, it seemed to be an old feeling that I was putting down again on the canvas, and all of a sudden I found that I started sandpapering
Oh yeah.
the paint off the canvas. I wasn't about to throw the canvas away because
Yeah.
it was a good size.
Sure.
But that was the change, and all of a sudden, this green tree came
Yeah.
out, green and gold and blacks and
Blues. Yeah.
yeah, and it was a good piece.
It is,
and
yes.
it sold also.
Understandably.
It's in Seattle, and that seemed to be the change. And from there, I never hesitated. I just had them going. And some of them came through me from, remembering certain things. I remember doing one tree, and it tied in with having had a relationship a long time ago, and I called it trees without leaves. In other
Yes.
words, it didn't blossom. It couldn't go anywhere.
Stunted.
Yeah, it was stunted. And, then I went to an ashram when I came back to Canada, and I called this one Nature's Jewels. And I made the bark on the tree, like you could really hurt your hand on it. I did a lot of texture.
Mica flakes, right?
Yeah, and just heavy paint.
Yeah.
And
Bold.
Yeah. So, they went on and on. I went north for a trip. So when I came back to Canada, and I caught the mountains and a funny looking tree in the front of it, and I did a 5 foot by 5 foot, and then I did three or four big ones, 6 feet by 4 feet, and one of them I did when my third ex-husband died, and I called it Ramey's tree. Then I did another one, very large, and I was just like, I just wanted to do the bark on it, and of course using my squares is part of my identity, I think, at this stage of the game. But yeah, they were very significant in the feeling that was in them for me, and they all came tumbling out of me within the next 10 years. It was just tree after tree after tree. I did one of the earlier ones was Symphony, and people loved that piece.
Very vibrant and colorful.
Yeah,
and flowing.
almost musical. That's
Very
why I called it Symphony. When
Suiting.
When I was doing it, it was like they were smaller trees, but I felt like I was actually, I had the baton in my hand, and I was I was orchestrating this one, and so that was a feeling. It was very strong.
That was another rather early piece. Symphony was,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Just listening to you talking about the pieces, and I've known through our personal conversations that you've come to an understanding that you've painted your life, like creating your life and documenting it via paintings, and I'm sure you could attest to somewhat throughout your weaving and fiber art career that's I'm sure that would also tie in a stage of your life journey. But the tree, why the tree? What is it?
I don't know. Well, maybe I do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Try it.
I will. They're powerful. Trees are powerful. They're all so unique. They're very different, whether, if it's a smaller tree, like I'm looking at one right now as we're doing this interview, and there's little dots of rain that is just sitting on every little tiny branch, and the branches are so small. It's amazing that they can hold those beads of water. And then, I look beyond, and there's these great big tall old trees, and they've got a story to tell. I feel I really do. I mean, they don't run around like people do.
Flitting around and such.
Yeah, they're stationary.
Very stable.
And yet they move. There was wind the other day, and leaves and trees, the branches were all dancing in the wind, and I just think that they're the most powerful piece of nature, and so many different kinds, and they've always intrigued me. I liked sitting under trees when I was a little girl, and
very Darwin of you.
Oh yes, very, very. Thank you. They sit well with me now, many years later. I think now I maybe have one more huge tree I want to do, with the help from you, and a canvas that will be the biggest one that I do in my career.
To date.
Yes, to date.
It's not a limit.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a 6 foot by 8 foot canvas, and that's a lot of territory, and really due to the fact that I am very detailed. I do a lot of washes, but usually they're in the background, and they come through whatever.
Definitely prominent in the tree series.
Yeah. In the foreground is like the tree, and but things come through the trees from my washes and whatnot, and yeah, that's going to be a big project, and I'm excited about it.
Great.
And I'm looking really forward to doing it, hopefully by this fall.
Sure. So. Well, it seems as if the tree series is firmly rooted forever in your portfolio.
Yes, well said.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.